You've seen our caption. Some have a different opinion. Some would say that we should just despise it. I think analyzing or criticizing or making an appraisal of a situation most often is subjective. And a television like ours comes up with topics maybe to neutralize or to debunk public opinion. All the media stations or broadcasting houses within the Cameroons are giving a narrative. They're painting a picture that doesn't exist. And so we want to look at it. And our discussion is, what are some of those lessons that enablers could learn from Ni John Frundi? Should I call him Ni John? Well, we are respectable people, so it wouldn't be a crime if I call him Ni John Frundi. From Ni John Frundi's Debacle. It's an important thing for us to look at this morning. And we want to look at Ni John. When I was growing up as a young man, Ni John was described by most, was considered by most as a hero. What happened? Few days before his death, he became a dancer. The respect of the same people he purportedly was fighting for was nowhere to be found. The caption he had in the 90s was "Power to the People." I would like to ask a question. Was it actually power to the people, or was that just a political statement? Was it power to the people, or was it power to Frundi? Our parents believed in this man. Some bled and died. Youths died because they believed that a savior came after over 40 years, I would say 30 years, of Cameroon's brutal occupation over our national territory. Now, how did Frundi rise to power is an important question that we must answer. Where did he come from? Why was it Frundi? These are questions I know you like to answer. Now, when Biya arrogantly seceded from the failed union in 1984, Southern Cameroonian leaders, home and abroad, were grouping themselves together to seek for a permanent solution. They thought that it was time for Southern Cameroons to just stop writing petitions or approaching the United Nations to seek for solutions. So they thought that one of the things they would have to do is to come together and form a political institution that they will use to confront the Biya's government. That was the birth of the Social Democratic Front. The primary objective of the Social Democratic Front wasn't to create an opposition party within the Cameroons. No, the Social Democratic Front was objective at ensuring that the voice of Southern Cameroonians that have been drowned by, first of all, the Aijos government and then the Biya government categorically doing it. The objective of that come together was supposed to be to provide a solution. The whole premise for founding the SDF was to legitimize the quest of the Southern Cameroon National Council, which was the freedom from servitude of the Southern Cameroonian people. When the founders of the SDF met, they picked the person who could suffer the least collateral damage, and that was John Frundi, to face the new wave of freedom. So our quest for freedom never started today. Contrary to what some enablers, defaulters, and blacklegs will want you to think. Some want to narrow it down to 2016. But did it start in 2016? No. The bookseller, well, with all due respect, championed the cause to liberate the Southern Cameroons from the iron grip of Biyaism. Mr. Biya when he came back from France as a young diplomat appointed by the Ayijo government, was made the head of a commission that was meant to look at what Ayijo termed the Anglophone problem. But was there any Anglophone problem? I argue that there was no Anglophone problem in the Cameroon's failed union. There has never been any Anglophone problem. There has been a Southern Cameroon's problem. So why then did Ayijo create what he called the Southern Cameroon's problem? Was to mask the real problem, to drift away from the right discussion, and to manipulate public, international, and national opinion. They went to structure their education in a way that our history wasn't taught to us. So again, the bookseller, Mr. Frundi, was supposed to champion the liberation of the Southern Cameroons. Then the world hailed him as a hero because of his bravery at the time. The people stood for him. He got himself flattered by the wave of support from all across the nations of the Cameroons, from the northern part of Kuseri to the eastern part of Baturi into the central of Sang Malima. Coming into the Southern Cameroons, Mr. Frundi was a record breaker at the time, loved by all the ethnic groups that constituted the failed union of the Cameroons. A few decades down the line, after he had championed and failed the cause, Mr. Frundi had himself compromised, and with a lust for power, fame, money, he was now beholden to a court master. Biya, being the superior of him, controlled and teleguided him. You want to ask yourself, was Biya genuinely an opposition leader, or was his party for over 30 years just another arm of the CBDM party? I watched a video yesterday with Fon Gojidinka expressing frustrations on the Frundi's involvement in the political history of the people of Southern Cameroons. According to Fon Goji, Mr. Frundi knew the solution that could free Southern Cameroons, but outrightly rejected, denied, and connived with the enemy. In the early 2000s, there's a video roaming around social media where Fon Gojidika said, the United Nations said one of the ways to get you free is to have the representatives of Frundi's party withdraw from the parliament in Yaoundé. But Mr. Frundi wouldn't do so. The international community watched Mr. Frundi for decades, romancing and rubbing shoulders with the same people that had calculatedly planned to erase his own community, to annihilate the same nation that had annexed his nation. What then can we say about Mr. Biya and Frundi's relationship? How did it so happen that a man that was purportedly a hero in the 90s will end up dying as a zero in 2023? I wish I could put together more than what I just gave to you now.